Welcome to the Online Success Journey podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey podcast, Patience.
Hello everyone and welcome to Online Success Journey. This is episode 66. Are you ready to join the clan? Today we have Michael Lapps. He has been in marketing since he spoke his first word, working in both advertising agencies and digital agencies. Taught him how to appreciate a good single malt and a nicely tailored suit. Hello Mike.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay. I know the clan is anxious to hear your story, so let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my clan a little bit about your background, what you did before you started your online business? Take us right up to the last job or business before you're online.
Yeah, sure. So my background is in marketing and advertising. I started working in big traditional agencies, working on really big clients like Kraft Foods and Procter and Gamble. But then I slowly moved into the digital space because I felt like that's where everything was going anyway. And then that eventually led me to starting my own business. I used to work in the digital agency where I looked after, a majority of their larger, more enterprise clients. And then I identified a gap in the market here in Australia that I wanted to capitalize on. And I found two people that were just as crazy as me that wanted to take the risk. And yeah, that's when I started the agency. It's called Yoghurt Digital, yogurt like the food.
Wow. Okay, that's a great background. Why do you do what you do, Mike?
It's actually, I ask myself that a lot. I think one of the things that I really love about digital is that because everything is so measurable, we can actually see the impact that we're having on the customers that we work with. We're very close with our clients, and they're an extended part of our family. And when we get phone calls from them, telling us, we've just opened a new store or a new location because of the work that you've done, or we brought on new staff, or when people tell us about the impact that we've had, that's probably why we do what we do. We wake up in the morning to make an impact on the lives of other people.
Okay, let's put man aside. How do you know you are really successful as a company?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think that success is a deeply personal thing, and the definition of success is going to vary from entrepreneur to entrepreneur. For at least speaking for myself, and probably for my business partners, I think for us it's about when people start recognizing the work that you do. When people start, looking at you and saying, wow, you guys have actually really helped a lot of companies. I think success for us, even in the day-to-day, is when a client calls us and tells us how happy we are. Like that for us is a successful day. On a bigger business side, without even looking at the commercial aspect, I think, once the industry starts recognizing your place in the market and your talent, for the services that you provide, I think that would probably be what we would count as success.
This since you've been a child, you said you've been into marketing agents and you've been online. Can anyone be an entrepreneur, or are some really cut out for it than others?
It's a tricky one because I don't want to discourage anyone from starting their own business, but it is an absolute slog. Running your own business means you're always on. You can never switch off. Weekends, 2 a.m. on a Wednesday night, you're thinking about, what else can I be doing? How do I grow it? How do I make things better? It's a real emotional roller coaster. And no, I don't think that just anybody can be an entrepreneur. I don't think that everyone is cut out for that, I think that you have to have a certain level of mental toughness and commitment to your idea and your project. I think that you're tested on an absolute daily basis, sometimes on an hourly basis, depending on the day. It's easier to sometimes just walk away and say, nope, it's too hard. I think that people who are going to start their own business need to have, I guess, a certain stubbornness. And I think you really need to believe in what it is that you're doing. And I think you have to have a little bit of crazy in you as well, quite frankly.
Okay. So if you are not crazy, you are not cut out to be an entrepreneur then.
It's entirely possible, yes.
Okay. Where do you see the digital marketing industry heading, and what does the future look like?
I think that digital marketing is evolving on a day-to-day basis, and I think where it's all heading is actually into the personalization space. Right now, data is, I guess, the big buzzword. All companies are trying to invest in getting data on how their customers are behaving, both online and offline. But then the next step is, of course, what to do with that data. And that's kind of, I guess, the space that we play in as an agency. We, I guess, are data lovers, but we're also strategists. And our specialty is in collecting and analyzing user behavior data, and then turning that into a digital marketing strategy. But the next step from that is, I think that, in the digital world, you'll soon be able to target people on an individual basis. So, if you patients were to come to our website, we would know that it was you, and we'd be able to change the design and the messaging based on who we know you are as a person. And I think that while that is a little bit creepy thinking about it now, that's exactly where everything is going. And consumers are asking more and more for that kind of level of personalization.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a mentor, you and your partners?
I think I personally do have a mentor. I think each of us has our own mentor that we go to and we like to speak to, as opposed to one for the whole agency. My mentor is a woman called Nicole Kirsch. She started her own company. She's an entrepreneur, a very successful entrepreneur in her own right, and probably one of the most successful female entrepreneurs in Australia, when she was 21. And, has successfully built that business and, sold it and has started, new businesses now. Whenever I have anything that I guess I want to discuss in relation to the business or growing the business or strategy or ideas, she's one of the people that I always go and chat to.
Okay. What is the most valuable thing that she has told you?
Well, that's actually a really good question. I don't know if it's necessarily like one sentence that she's told me, but I think it's the constant reinforcement of you're going in the right direction and just follow your gut. And I know that sounds like a little bit tacky, but a lot of people start to second guess themselves and they lose track of why it is that they're doing what they're doing, why they actually started a business in the first place. And I think that the most valuable lesson that Nicole has told me is that you're going to go through ups and downs, but always follow your gut and remember why you're doing what you're doing. Like, remember the day that you started the business and the excitement that you felt and the reason that you wanted to start it, and then follow that, because it will take you to where you need to go.
There are plenty of digital strategies out there. Which strategies do you find to be the most effective?
Without sounding too biased, obviously we're going to say that the strategies that we use, we play in the conversion optimization space. So basically everything, as I was saying before, from gathering user behavior data, then analyzing that user behavior data. So using Google Analytics and heat maps and customer surveys and user testing and I guess all of those qualitative and quantitative research methods. And then building out, like a split testing or an A/B testing strategy where we test new designs, headlines, content, the actual website, user experience. So our job is essentially to use data to improve the marketing function of a website and the marketing function of a company. And I think that from like a return on investment perspective, you're going to be hard pressed to find something that's more actionable and that provides more meaningful results.
What is the most valuable thing you have ever given away?
I would say our time. Time is the one resource that you can't get back. And we've done quite a lot of pro bono work with some big charities here in Australia. And while it was, incredibly valuable to the charities, it was also incredibly valuable and meaningful for us as an agency. And we're really proud to have done the work that we did and had the impact that we did. And yeah, I think that's probably the most valuable thing that anyone can give away.
Okay, let's talk about your company. Who came up with the name Yoghurt? When I saw the yogurt, I saw like, oh, it's a company. It's the food company.
Yeah, so the name was an interesting one, actually. We were trying to think about, what it is that we wanted to represent in the industry. And when we found out about, I can't remember where it was that we were reading it, but we were essentially reading about the way that yogurt is made. And it occurred to us that it's very similar to the way we see ourselves or what it is that our agency does. So, I mean, when you're making yogurt, you essentially have a lot of different ingredients. You might have your sugar and some hot water. You'll have whatever flavoring you want. But the key ingredient is yogurt cultures. Without the yogurt cultures, all those ingredients together they don't work. And that's essentially what we see ourselves doing as an agency. We step into our clients and they have lots of these different ingredients, but they're very disjointed and disconnected. And we are the yogurt culture. So we come in and we bring everything together and we make it work. We make it into, something functional. We turn it into an actual product. And that's when we decided that that's the name that we wanted to go with. Plus, no one will ever forget our name, ever. It's impossible.
Yes, it is. Very interesting. Okay, let's talk about your business. Tell us more about your business and your partners.
Yeah, so I'm one of 3 co-founders. There's also Matt and Ian. And we're a team currently of, soon to be 11. We're 11 digital marketers. We're based in Sydney in Australia. And I guess we've got about probably 40, 50 clients, anywhere from Brisbane, Perth, Melbourne, Adelaide, and of course in Sydney. And we've worked with companies even in Singapore, in New York. We're about 2.5 years old and we've been growing pretty quickly. And it's incredibly exciting to, the agency world is very competitive, but it's also a really exciting lifestyle, in many ways. And yeah, it's been a real roller coaster the last 2.5 years, but it's also, we're very proud of what we've accomplished in that time.
Wow. Okay. And where do we find you if we want to contact you?
You can always head to our website. It's www.yoghurtdigital.com.au, and that's yogurt with an H. So we spell it kind of the British way, not the American way. And that's where you can learn more about us, the services that we offer. But then we've also got a blog where we share some knowledge on what's happening in the digital marketing world, and our opinions on different strategies and different ideas and different tactics. So that's probably the best place to find us.
Oh, okay. Before we head over there, do you just work with big companies or do you work with the startups as well?
No, I mean, we work with all sorts of companies. We have worked with startups before. We've worked with charities. And yes, we do work with some very big companies like Converse, for example. It really just depends on what people actually need. We even work with some companies just from a consulting perspective. So we're non-discriminatory in that sense.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, clan, there will be more from Mike in a moment. If you are finding Mike's journey interesting and you are ready to hear more, come and listen to the full version of the interview at onlinesuccessjourney.com. If you are on Online Success Journey already, click on part 2 of Mike's journey and get lots more information about your company and how to use it digital. Yogurt company to help you put your business in the future. And don't forget, you can access all other online success interview podcasts on the site as well. So check out conversion optimization, yogurtdigital.com.au. Alright, that's a wrap, clan. Remember, success is a journey. Patience and Michael join us in part 2 at onlinesuccessjourney.com.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to part 1 and want to be sure you know there is a second part to this and every journey podcast at onlinesuccessjourney.com, filled with even more success tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. There are dozens of episodes only available to the members of the Online Success Journey clan. Check out the website and click on Join the Clan for more information. Patience would like to thank you for listening to this podcast, and she has a free audio gift for you at her website. Go to onlinesuccessjourney.com for instant access to this gift. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps each of us chart our own path, so make sure you're subscribed to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the Online Success Journey and to listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review it at Stitcher and other sites by clicking the stars or completing the ratings form, by clicking the thumbs up and leaving a comment on YouTube, or liking and sharing the podcast on social media. To review the podcast within iTunes, simply open iTunes to the podcast, click on Ratings and Reviews, then write a review. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.